YouTubers, it's UC Weapon back again with a mod video how to. So today we're going to take this Trackmaster 2 Talking Percy. And we're going to fit Tommy wheels. How are we going to do that? Well, I'm going to show you, and maybe you can try it at home, but it is quite difficult. So let's get started. So step one is dismantle the Tommy chassis. We need the back axle and the front axle. So there's 3 screws holding it all together. These 2 back ones hold the drive unit in. And then it will pop out with the axle. And this chassis has a lot of problems, so I'm going to sacrifice it. Well, it does have a good axle, so I don't know if I should, but I think I have to because it's kind of worth it. And 1 screw for the front, and some weights and stuff. All handy parts to have in the parts box. And couplings, I like those. Alright, so now you're wondering, how do we get the wheels off the axles? Well, I'll show you. Alright, so over at the vise we have the front axle. See how it's got this ring on the end? The other end doesn't have it. It's just on one end. There's a ring with the axle sitting inside, so we're going to pop that in the vise. Now you probably will need a vise for this. So if you don't have a vise, it's going to make it extremely difficult. Then I just grab a reaming pin and my baby tapper hammer, and I hammer out the axle from the ring. There you go. Now we try and rescue the wheels that we've lost, and we'll be right back. Alright, now for the back axle, it's quite a bit trickier. It's held in very tightly. But the same principle, you've got to hammer out. Doesn't want to fit on the vise today. Trying to remember how I did it last time. And there you go, there's 1 wheel off. No vise needed, I just used my hands. This one I'm going to need to get the pliers so I can hold the axle in place while I remove the other one. And a bit of wiggling and a bit of brute force, and we've got it off. So not too much damage there. I'm going to put new tyres on it, obviously. There we go, there's our pair of removed wheels from the Tommy, ready to go onto the Trackmaster 2. So back over here we've got our wheels for the Percy, and we can start go ahead and dismantling Trackmaster 2 Percy. Interesting. Mattel, very interesting. Alright, so we've got our bare chassis with just the wheels, rods. We're going to need the rods. So take them off, put them aside. Oh, we've got a tight fit today. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? I need that. Hang on. Alright, so crisis averted. We found the rod in an unlikely spot, but very good. Alright, so we've got the back axle. That's not too hard. I'll either pull the wheels off or hammer them out on the vise. The tricky part is getting these two front axle pins out of the chassis without damaging the chassis. Now if I damage the chassis, that will be the end of this video, but if I get it right, you'll be seeing this as I speak now, so I'm going to be right back. Alright, so we've got one out of the front. This is it. It's like a screw kind of. But more, it doesn't have a thread, it has like just ridges to hold it in. Alright, so I'm going to try the other one now. So what I did with that one was I held the pin in the vise. And I basically hammered the chassis out of the pin. I'm going to try that again without wrecking the chassis. Oh, see, I'm telling you, it's difficult. I wasn't joking. It is difficult. Oh, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Try it like that without crushing the chassis. Get my pliers under there, if I can, under the tip of the axle, under the end. The whole chassis is coming out of the vise. Stay. Tighter. I don't want to crush the chassis. Do not want to crush the chassis. Want the axle out. Come on. No. It's not cooperating. Gotcha. Alright. Alright, the back axle. Now last time the wheels broke, but it doesn't matter because we're replacing the wheels. What we want is the axle, so I've got my pin and my hammer again. We want to hammer this axle out of the wheel. That was pretty easy. Now I've got to find where it went. There we go. See, it's the same sort of deal with the threaded bit. Come on, focus. A lot of people ask me, why would I buy a camera with such bad focus? This is a very expensive kit lens camera. It's just the lens I'm using. It's not ideal for close-ups. So that's why. Alright, so wheel number 2 out of the axle. It's coming. Don't need to hammer the hell out of it. Always watch where it drops. There it goes. And we've got trouble because a bit of axle is left on there. I'm going to have to chop a bit of wheel is left on there. I'll have to chop that off. Alright, so I chopped off that remaining piece of wheel and we're left with that. Now it's just a matter of putting the Tommy wheels on. I will do that now. Alright, so we've got our first Tommy wheel. And we just want to pop the end in a bit. And hammer it in gently, very gently. And a bit more in. There we go. So it's almost flush. That leaves us a bit of adjustability if we want to adjust it later, if we need to adjust it later. So the other wheel, same deal, hammer on. That one went on really easy. The other one a little tap as well. That's it. Alright, now the front stub axles on Percy. I've never seen them be that tight before, going into a Tommy wheel. It's just this part here, the ridged bit, that is tight, so you might need to hammer it past that gently, because we don't want to damage the wheel. Of course, goes spoke side out. And we gently give it a little tap. And there we go, we've got both axles on. Grab our chassis. Which I've got to file down, hang on a second. And we're just finishing off sanding the bottom to make it nice and smooth. I already filed it with the file, because it removes the material much faster. I'll just go with the, I don't know what grain it is, I think it's 2000 sandpaper or emery cloth. Just give it a quick smooth down like so. It's quite a lot better than what it was. And there's still some little bits stuck in there, like that. And then of course, I always like to clean up my job. I get an old paintbrush or a new paintbrush that hasn't been used. I use that for dusting all my trains. I use it for cleaning it out the crud left behind from filing and sanding, etc. Cutting works very well. There you go. Let's put them axles in. So we've got one, close up the vise, so we've got a surface to work with. And we get our little hammer. And it's got to go in quite a bit further than that. So there's enough room for the rod and the wheel to move freely. So you don't want to go too far. I think that's probably about as far enough. A little bit more. Yep, that's about right, I think, for that one. I'll grab the other one. Pop it in. It's not a good spot, really. And a nice edge to work with. There check how far in we've gone. I think we've gone a little bit far or just right. It's one or the other. It's always the way, isn't it? Try and make it nice and even on both sides. So I think we're about there. Alright, so let's go ahead and reassemble our Percy. Alright, so back over this side, we've got our Percy chassis with the stub axles put back in. Now I've got all the components we need here to build a Percy. So I've got some new traction tyres because these are the old ones. They are 22 years old or so. Because it's a 1993 Percy, it was. And it might still be one day. It was in bad shape though. Now these traction tyres are a lot stiffer than the old ones. Difficult to put on. Let me be right back. So I struggled and I got the traction tyres fitted. They are black. They're from a bloke on eBay in the USA. And we're already having some problems here. The axles are on too far. Are they? The wheels are on too tight. I didn't have this problem with Thomas. Very interesting. There we go. Ooh, very tight. So yeah, there's a lot of trial and error. I'm going to have to hammer the wheels out a little bit. Be right back. Alright, so like I said, a bit of trial and error. We have it on now. The wheels can't sit flush on the axle. There needs to be about a 1mm gap on each side. And quite free now. The tyres are a bit bindy because they're bigger than normal. So I might do a bit of choppy chop just to give it a bit more clearance. So yeah, more trial and error. So we had to trim a little bit or file a little bit down off this edge because these black traction tyres are a little bigger than the old ones. Just there on that screw post. But yeah. Alright, now I get a lot of questions about my Thomas mod. How do I get the rods to stay in the Tommy wheel holes? Because the Tommy wheel holes are of course much bigger. And I'll give you the simple answer and I'll show you what I do. I get my pliers, needle nose or whatever, and I gently squeeze the ball to flatten it a bit. So it makes good contact. And I need to squash that one a bit more. And it'll still hold in there nicely, like so. As you can see, it's not going anywhere. So we'll do that on the other side and we'll be right back. Alright, so rods on. Every step of this project has had some difficulty or another, so if you don't feel confident, don't do it because you'll end up wrecking Percy or Thomas or James, whoever you try and do it to. If you don't feel confident and you snap the chassis, then that's it. Throw it in the bin because it's over. Now I wonder if Percy will fit without any modding. Seems to so far. Thomas, I did have to chop his body shell a little bit to get wheel clearance on the front. Oh, but Percy is very happy. Well, we're stuck on the body shell on the back. Got a lot of push going on there. It is squeezing the axle. So I'm going to have to do more modification. More trial and error. I'll be right back. Something to Trackmaster, Fisher-Price, Mattel, whoever they are. They've tried to thwart me so many times along the way here. Just about every step of this project has been difficult. Right? Just about every single step. I'm at the final step. And I've got to Dremel all this out. Now, where the back wheels go. Really? Really, Mattel? We'll see. I've got tools. So I'm not phased. Here's the Dremel. I'm going to get cracking and I'll be right back. Alright, I've finally finished. So, Mattel, Fisher-Price, Trackmaster, whoever you are, nice try. But I've got tools like your developers and engineers, so too bad. I'll show you what I did. Not worried about it at all. Nice try and all that. But yep. You see that? And that. Easy. With the right tools. So let's give it a quick run. Alright, so a very quick test. Talking Percy with Tony wheel swap, pulling 6 express coaches. I call that successful mod. Thanks for watching.